Doctor, look!
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Dr. Homebrew. We're live, in person, as far as you know. Maybe we're a giant tape delay. You never really know. We're here to talk homebrew. And with me, of course, are the two Brians, Brian and Brian. Brian, how are you?
Hello.
And Brian, how are you?
I'm good, JP. How are you?
Right, I'm good. I'm glad you guys figured out who I was speaking to.
I'm number two. I know that. That's my place.
Well,
I'm cool with that.
You're never going to get to number one with that attitude, Brian.
Why would I want to get to number one? I'm number two.
That's true. I mean, again, great points. You make really good points.
Number two is definitely more substantial than number one, I would say. Usually.
Yeah. It's probably true.
At times, yes.
More solid kind of.
Number two doesn't have to run through airports. Number two tries harder.
That's
for
true.
the really old
two.
listeners.
Yeah.
Cooper, can you turn your volume up by chance?
I can.
You are
try.
a little low, my friend.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that any better?
Not really, but you know, if that's the best you can do, then we'll live with it.
I'll just talk loud.
Okay, that'd be nice. Welcome, everybody. So we have a couple home brews to drink today. The first one is an Italian Pilsner from our friend Mark. But before we get there, I'm going to remind you guys about our fine sponsor, 5 Star Chemicals. Go to 5starchemicals.com and you can have access to the finest, greatest cleaning and sanitizing equipment and chemicals. I don't even know why I say equipment. The finest cleaning and sanitizing equipment. Jesus Christ, I said it again. The finest cleaning and sanitizing chemicals that you can ever have. Actually, I just got some delivered from More Beer at my house, and I can hear myself in one of your channels. Is someone watching live? Are you guys watching live?
I am watching live.
Okay, make sure to kill it. Pause it. You don't need to see yourself. Just pause it because your video will be better, and then I won't hear the audio.
But how do I pause? Let's see. Stop video.
In the lower left-hand corner, there's a pause button, and I would like for you to hit that.
There is not.
Just close Facebook. Oh, or minimize it. I don't know. Maybe that.
Oh,
works.
Facebook. No, Facebook is done.
Oh,
Closed.
Okay.
Okay. Well, regardless,
Seems to have gone away.
I'm sure you'll figure it out. Anyway. I want to remind you guys about our fine sponsor, 5 Star. You go to 5starchemicals.com and learn every possible way to clean and sanitize your home brewing equipment. And by each and every way, I mean the only way that's possible, which is clean it first and then sanitize it. And I love 5 Star. We've used 5 Star for a long time here. Actually, ever since they hit the homebrew market, I was using them at More Beer, and they're really great stuff. It's really great stuff. Really great people. I just got another 5-pound order from More Beer of PBW because I use it. I don't brew anymore, but I still use PBW because it's that good of a cleaner. So
yeah,
check it out if you're not already using it. Use the 5 Star products. If your local homebrew shop doesn't have it, please ask them to carry it. That would be really great. If they don't or can't for whatever reason, especially now, things are tight. People aren't trying to take on new stock. You can order it from various places, like our sponsors. So anyway, 5starchemicals.com. Check it out.
You know what, JP? When this whole COVID thing is over,
Yes.
we should all get together and brew something.
Sure.
And maybe we'll judge it on the show.
Maybe.
Sounds good.
My preferred method of collaboration is email.
You email me a recipe and I brew it?
Yeah, but basically, yeah, like we just go around and, it's distance collaboration. I'm pretty good at it, just, COVID aside. So
yeah,
that might happen, but, we'll see. I don't know, man.
I'm just thinking that could be good content.
For sure. What are you thinking about? What style are you thinking about?
I haven't thought that far ahead.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, I mean, it is like a year away. So we
something wet with like carbonation.
Already I'm against it. already.
Okay, then a goose. We'll do a goose.
All right, we'll do a goose. A goose. That'd be great. Okay, well, hey, let's get to our first guest. Mark, are you there?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's going on, dude?
Hello.
Oh, hanging in there. Loving that shirt, Brian Cooper.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Brian Cooper is shilling for Left Hand Brewing Company right now.
Nice.
It's my only clean shirt. I just got it from JP the other day and washed it. So, no.
Nice, good timing.
So, Mark, man, how long have you been homebrewing?
I've been brewing for quite a while. A little over a decade now.
Okay.
Wow.
Pretty hardcore. I try to brew about every 3 weeks. Been growing strong that whole time. About every 3 weeks. Got to keep the taps full.
Well, you've been brewing about every 3 weeks for 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much. My homebrew club,
Wow.
I love to show up correct. So I'll usually roll through my club meetings with 3 to 5 growlers, and I take beer to work. And with the election right now, I'm just trying to stay drunk. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of us here. What's your homebrew club?
I'm part of the Wise Guys here in Loveland, Colorado.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good. And this Italian Pilsner. Now, this is sort of a relatively new beer, I guess, on the craft scene, thanks to Pivo Pils from Firestone. Last 5 years or so. I've never heard of an Italian Pilsner before. Is it something that you've done before, or is this a new attempt at this style?
No, definitely first attempt. And yeah, I'm definitely familiar with Pivo myself. It's an amazing beer. I do a little sensory stuff for Craft Beer and Brewing magazine, and
Okay.
we were doing a panel on, it was just crispy boys, and there's a brewery out of Chicago, Hop Butcher, and they had this beer. It was a Floletto, and it just literally blew my mind. And I looked it up as soon as I got home that evening, and I was like, I got to brew something in the space. So yeah, first time brewing it.
Okay. Very good, man. Very good. Well, let's crack into it.
Let's crack it. Yeah.
What do you guys think? I'm excited now, and I appreciate you sending enough beer so Brian can deliver it to my house, man. Especially something like this.
Sure. Pouring the beer.
All right. And I love the labels, the classic, hello, my name is stickers. See? That? Wow.
That's a good label.
Yeah. All right.
Easy to find.
Who's going first? Brian Cooper. Why don't you go first?
All right. You always start with me on the first show of the night.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's okay.
Okay.
Well, I got top billing.
There you go.
Brian won.
That's right.
So in the nose, I'm getting a medium, pleasant bready malt up front with a medium low kind of herbal hop aroma alongside that. No obvious esters. Getting hints of a honey-like malt impression. Thinking perhaps there's some slight oxidation here. No diacetyl or acetaldehyde. Just a little touch of sulfur, but not overwhelming. Not corn-like, really. Just a little light whiff of some sulfur. As you can get in some lagers, it's a component of a lot of them. Especially, you got a lot of Pils malt going on, and there you go. Sometimes it pops up. But not too heavy, so that's nice. It pours a somewhat hazy, kind of ambery. Well, this one's less ambery than the sample I had last night. I think it's a little lighter. The one I had last night was a little ambrier, and I think it had more of that honey-like quality to it. So I think I'm getting some bottle variation here for sure. And this sample is also less hazy. Make sure I got the right bottle. Yes, I did. The head just kind of fell flat pretty quickly. There was some finer and larger bubbles that popped up and just dissipated almost immediately after pouring. I don't know. I'd probably give this one a 2 for appearance. The one I had last night was hazier and darker. I gave it a 1, but I might calm up a little bit. The malt is bready and toasty, and the flavor at a medium level. With a very low hop flavor. This one, the hop is actually popping through a little bit better on this sample to me. I'm getting a little herbal and spicy hop character in there. Maybe a little floral. The bitterness is medium low, kind of out of the way. It's not super substantial. Clean lager fermentation seems definitely well lagered. The sample I had last night seemed a bit stale, maybe Brian, if you have a second bottle, if you judged it earlier, you might want to open that one too and taste both again. That's I got some variation here for sure. There was a little kind of pepperiness in there, suggesting some alcohol, I thought. The balance is slightly to the malt, and but this one, the hop's popping up a little better. I think sometimes when you get a little oxidation in a bottle, it can make the beer seem maltier and heavier and just kind of more dulled. So things like hops will get covered up by that kind of flavor. Finished dry, and you get a little maltiness with some hoppiness in the aftertaste on this one. Just a hint of that honey-like flavor in this though too, but not too bad. Mouthfeel-wise, it's a medium light body with low alcohol warmth. I feel something just a little warming in there, peppery. It might it's not, it's definitely not carbonation, because there's such a low carbonation that it's not really spritzy. But it's almost like a carbonic like thing. It's interesting to me. There's something a little biting on it. There's some higher alcohols in here pushing up a little hop impression, or it's just something. There's something a little peppery in the flavor and something a little sharper in the mouthfeel here that's poking out at me. But not very creamy either. That's okay to style, but yeah, carbonation should definitely be a little higher here. We got a little slight astringency as well. Overall, this is a good beer. Very well brewed beer. The sample I had last night was a bit too malty and dulled to work well as a crisp Italian Pilsner. I thought I could use a little more CO2, and be careful of the O2 pickup at all stages. All stages past fermentation. Something just got in the way of that one. This one's better. This one definitely has got a few points on the one I judged last night. Well, also I was in a bad mood after watching the debates. I mean, who wouldn't be? Jesus.
Why do you watch that nonsense, man? There's no upside to it.
Yeah, I put it on mute and just turned on like some Laurel and Hardy audio, and it does the same thing. This one I would say it does have more of that that Pilsner, the Italian Pilsner kind of crispness, and a little more of the hoppiness that you want. So it's better. I think definitely add some bottle variation, but needs some more. If you add more carbonation, though, it might make the harsh edges a little rougher too. So I think maybe there's something that went on in the ferment that brought up something kind of a little pepperier and more biting and sharp or astringent in there. But I don't know. It's an interesting beer. It's a good beer. I gave it actually creeping up into very good. I gave it a 30 last night, and I'll give this one probably more like a 33-ish. I think it's a little bit better.
Nice.
So I don't know if you get any bottle variation, Brian, let me know. But if yours are hazier and darker, I mean, we're in different light situations, but this is not what the one I had last night looked like.
Yeah.
Okay,
Headwise, yeah.
To your alcohol comment, I get some alcohol pepperiness in there also, and I don't know. I think you were pretty right on, Brian.
No.
All that. Brian Shar.
Yes.
Your dissertation on this beer, please.
Well, it'll be a short dissertation. I have to agree with Brian. There was some bottle variation. I judged this late this afternoon and opened another bottle just now, and there are some differences, primarily with regard to carbonation. The first bottle was really highly carbonated, and this one is more like the bottle that Brian had judged in terms of carbonation. I'm not really familiar with the style. I had to do some research this afternoon, and I probably should have done some more research than I did. But I spent some time trying to track this down. This is not an official BJCP style, but from the research I had done, it seems to be like a German Pils with more dry hopping. And I tend to trust Matt Brynildson. I've never met the guy, but I know he's a friend of the Brewing Network, and he's always knowledgeable and very smart guy when he's on the session or any of the shows. And especially when it comes to hops, the guy really knows what he's talking about. And he said that he was inspired by Italian Pilsner to brew the Pivo Pils. And in more than one location, I found the description of the style being kind of a dry hopped German Pils. So I judged this just so that we all know. as a 34C, which is experimental. It's kind of the catch-all. And then in my special ingredients line, I stated based on 5D German Pils. So for better or worse, that's how I approach judging this beer. Aroma was sort of a malt-forward, low Pils aroma. It was missing the dry-hopped, hop-forward aroma to me. There was maybe a little, in the second, more recent one that I opened, I maybe get a low floral hop, but I really didn't get much hop aroma in the first bottle at all. No off aromas, so there's nothing objectionable, which is good. Gave it a 7 out of 12. Appearance, it's a golden color. This is showing maybe a little lighter on the webcam than it's sort of showing to me, but this one's actually a little lighter than the previous one. So I probably might come up to a 30 overall. I gave this 2 out of 3 for appearance because the previous bottle that I had judged was really much more of a dark gold than this. Crystal clear, which is great. Low persistent head. I'd give this one 3 out of 3. The previous one got 2 out of 3. Flavor, initial character is kind of medium to high malt. This is a little more Pilsner character. The previous bottle almost had more of a 2-row character to me than Pilsner for flavor. But I got a slight cardboard, and I had wondered, I'm not getting as much in this one, and I wondered if the previous bottle, but this one still has some cardboard, and I had wondered if perhaps the previous bottle in particular, and also maybe this one a little bit, might be older, might be aged, and maybe some of that Pils character is falling out to cardboard and oxidation. Medium hop bitterness, not really much hop flavor, really well attenuated. The balance is toward malt in a long finish. I got in the previous bottle a little bit of a grape character almost. I get that in this too. There's like an estery grape, like a grape ester. And I thought for a moment, maybe this is that Italian grape ale that's one of the X styles, but no, that's not it.
Italian grape ale.
And I get, the pepperiness that you were talking about, Brian. There was something that I was getting before, and you said that pepper. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely there. So 10 out of 20 for flavor, primarily because it lacked the kind of assertive hop flavor that I wanted from what I understand to be this style. Mouthfeel, 5 out of 5. Although I probably should give this more of a 4. I thought the body was really full. The previous bottle, the body was definitely full, much bigger than I expected from a Pilsner. This one is even a little bit higher body than I would want. Carbonation, medium to high in the previous bottle. This one's kind of low. For the sake of not having to adjust things on the fly, I'm giving you my score for the previous bottle. I'm not going to go back and try to adjust, 15 things on the fly here. It's more perky than creamy, no astringency or warming. Gave it 5 out of 5 for mouthfeel. Overall impression, I gave it a 5. I think it's generally a good technical beer that's well made. And I may just be out of the loop as far as what styles are now, some of the more super recent styles. I thought that at least the previous bottle that I had judged, the darker color and the cardboard point to maybe some oxidation and some age. I think that, in terms of suggestions for improvement, if this is an older bottle, obviously, as always, just enter it sooner, especially for hop-forward styles. And if it's not, I would, based on my understanding of what the style is, I would add some more flavor hops and dry hop this with European hops for at least 2-3 days toward the end. But for a total score of 29, which is good.
Oh, come on.
And,
those are not good.
but thank you for sharing, and I want to hear all about this beer.
Yeah, and I've got a bottle in front of me too. I filled several of these, and this is fairly fresh from when I mailed this to you guys. Just being real honest, I suck at my beer gun. I suck at it.
Yeah, dude. Well,
you're not the only one.
If you're sucking on it, you're doing it wrong. I think.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Yeah, I had such a hard time filling these bottles. I ended up with a bunch of low fills, so I kept the ones that were the lowest on my end. And Cooper, when you were immediately saying honey knows, I picked up this same thing. And to consider that it then got on the back of a truck and traveled out to California and got shook up a whole bunch on the way. No doubt, I'm sure.
Probably in the 80s or 90s when it was dropped off, and who knows how hot it went.
And thinking about like stuff on a homebrew scale, like dissolved oxygen, like that sucks because I'm tasting this on my tap system, and versus the beer that's in my glass right now, it's a different beer. But
we'll be right over.
I mean, it almost sort of tastes saison to that end. Like that's how much peppery I get out of it with
peppery and fruity.
Yeah, with that higher alcohol. But I mean, you can smell the beer, you can taste the beer. It's like 60% there. You can sort of pull out what I think you're going for. Do you think?
Yeah, we're not tasting the same thing he is. How hazy is yours, JP? Is it hazy, clear, dark, or light?
It's very clear, but it is like Coors Banquet color.
Yeah,
maybe a little darker even. But yeah, it's just that pepperiness really weighs heavy. Do you guys think that this is, and Mark, obviously, it's your beer, you chime in, but do you think it's process related solely, or do you think it's a recipe thing also, or maybe it's a combination of both, or what? How did we get here?
Just some age on the way here, probably, and the bottles with the oxygen. It's a delicate beer. You want to package it very carefully to preserve what's there, and he's tasting a totally different beer from his kegerator. So the side by side would be fun if we could do that, but we can't. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that it's so much process, and Mark, you're probably a pretty good taster too, so you can tell us what do you get in what are the differences between your keg version and the maybe you said a little bit already, but
I think the other thing outside of definitely picking up on some oxidation is one of my sensitivities too. Coming off of the keg, it's definitely more of a lively, prickly beer. Some of those aromas are jumping out. It's you noted that it was dry. I'm definitely feeling that same way off of the tap system. Out of this bottle though, I'm picking up some herbal. I can see where you kind of seeing like some of that little bit of grape notes too.
It's interesting, yeah.
Come on over. Let's help me work with some of these kegs.
Colorado's not too far.
No. Yeah, just say your address here live on air, and we'll be right over.
Yeah, we'll send the BN helicopter right over. Fix all up.
What was your original gravity on this?
Original gravity was supposed to be 1055, but it ended up quite a bit higher than that. It was at 1063. So started pretty high, finished pretty low. Based off of Beersmith, that's somewhere around 7%.
Oh, 7%. Yeah, that 7% explains some of the pepperiness and prickliness. Yeah. What was your final gravity?
1010.
Wow, that's good. That's why it comes across well attenuated. Yeah. What yeast did you use?
That was the White Labs German lager yeast.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely the saison with the alcohol there, and I kept getting hit by, the peppery alcohol, and it's a tasty, interesting beer with the fruitiness, alcohol, and the hops that do shine through all that are nice, and then the malt's just a little dulled in our samples, but it's a fun beer. I could probably drink a lot of it off your tap there.
Yeah. Take you guys through a recipe real quick.
Yeah, please do.
So there was only one barley variety in this beer, and that was it was 100% Barca Pils, Environment Barca Pils. I'd never used that before. The folks down in Denver, Bierstadt Lagerhaus, that's pretty much exclusively what they use. So I got my hands on a bag and I had to try that. So 100% Barca Pils, double decocted, it had Magnum for the bittering, and then late at 10 minutes, I hit it with an ounce each Hallertauer, Saphir, Strisselspalt, and Tettnang, and then fermented it out with this German lager yeast. I typically do my lagers at like 50 degrees for the first couple days and then just start slowly bringing it up. And then once that had completely fermented out, drop the yeast out and in the keg, dry hopped it with the same hops, an ounce each, for 5 days.
Oh. That's a lot of hop for how little is coming
Wow.
through.
Yeah, we should really be tasting or smelling and tasting those dry hops like that. And it's weird that we're not. And that kind of points to maybe heat or age or something.
Yeah. It went kind of herbal and just kind of died off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I got these off my front porch pretty soon after they got here. But it was still, I mean, hasn't been quite as hot as it has been lately, but it's been pretty warm around here. Mm-hmm. So maybe that was, sitting in the FedEx truck or the FedEx location. Maybe it just kind of got cooked.
Yeah.
I'll blame it on my inability to bottle.
Yeah, it's definitely a conglomeration of several factors, I imagine. The heat didn't help, so.
No. It was fun to try the style and send us some more in the winter maybe. And
No, I'm pretty stoked on it. Like, hop Pilsner, like I'll drink that all the time. Like that's
Yeah, we're still, getting 90-degree days here, so it'd be nice in the summer here. Late or early fall here now.
Right. Well, Mark, do you have any questions for the boys that we haven't touched on?
I mean, from a recipe perspective, is there anything else that you might recommend to make this beer better outside of obviously some process issues on my end?
I'm not familiar with that Pils malt you used, so maybe just step back and try it with like a Wireman or something else, and just give it another shot. And if you need to, if the hops are shining through fine in your keg, maybe leave those where they're at, or you could bump them up. But definitely make sure you hit your gravity, or water it down at the end if you need to get that 1055-ish that you wanted. That'd be a lot better.
After the election.
You can never go wrong with Wireman. I echo what Brian says. That stuff is amazing. And if you can just get yourself some Wireman pills and give that a shot and see what happens. Otherwise, I suspect it's just a packaging process issue.
Yeah. Or you could try another local craft pills too, like a micro malt stir. Sometimes they have some really fine versions of continental malts that don't have to travel because they're made here. But be picky about that too. Taste it, get reputation.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Mark. Well,
Cheers.
I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you later, I think, right?
Yeah.
Got another beer coming on, I think.
On the next show, yeah.
The next show. All right. Perfect.
Cheers.
Love it.
Thanks,
Bye,
Mark.
Thanks, dude.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Bye, man. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty good, but it was there was something funky. So I'm hoping that he between now and the next time that he brews that, he learns how to use his beer gun, because it's obviously not the equipment. We know the beer gun is solid. But like with anything, there's a learning curve. And so if this is, one of his first times or whatever, is what it is.
Yeah, I'm terrible with the beer gun myself. Not that it's the beer gun's fault; it's user error.
Right.
And then it's 7%. That's just 2%, 2 percentage points higher than you really want that beer to be.
I agree. And it says a lot. He was getting the same things in his local beers that hadn't traveled, however many 100 miles. Hand carrying him here wouldn't have made a big difference.
No,
for sure. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and I think we're talking with Tyler with a Festbier, right?
Yeah.
Is that accurate? All right.
It is. I'm going to get some of that in my glass.
Yeah, me too. Hang on, everybody. This is Dr. Homebrew. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Dr. Homebrew. Thanks for sticking with us. We have Tyler on the line. Tyler, what's going on, dude?
Hanging in there, man. Just trying to survive every day, getting through it.
Yeah.
It's definitely Miller time.
That's really just the mantra right now. It's like, well, we're just, I don't know. I don't honestly really know how it's going. We're both alive, and that's good. So you sent a Festbier, which I love. That style is so good. Actually, the other day I finally got some Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest in bottles, which I look forward to every year. It's like that beer plus celebration. This time of year is my favorite time of year. But you've canned it. I never thought when I first started homebrewing in like the first 4 or 5 years, never dreamed that homebrewers would just be able to can beer.
Yeah. I remember being amazed you could put it in a bottle and have it capped and like officially like, look at this is my bottle.
Yeah, like what the fuck is going on? No, we can can beer now. You just go to More Beer, you buy a canner, buy cans, you buy cans. You can buy cans there, and you can that's it. Fucking trips me out. Anyway, is this the first time you made a Festbier before?
It is. Yep.
Oh, nice. Wow, we had two first attempts today. I like that. That's my favorite part of the show is when people try a different style. It's the first time they've tried it. Yeah. And then they send it into us.
What about lagering? Do you do a lot of lagers?
I just started getting into lagering definitely within the last year, but since March, since lockdown started, that was kind of the primary focus of my brewing, was really just dive into lagers. I had the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nice.
Awesome. Well, Brian Shar. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off with this Festbier, please?
I get to go first. Awesome. Yeah. So, Tyler, are you in a homebrew club?
Yeah. I guess I want to give a shout out to St. Paul Homebrew Club.
Nice.
I recently moved out of Minnesota down to Arizona, so I'm looking for a new homebrew club down in the Phoenix area. But definitely a shout out to those guys and girls out there.
Cool. Yes, St. Paul Homebrewers Club made a run at Club of the Year not that long ago, and I think historically has been Club of the Year several times.
Yeah, there's some heavy hitters, some really strong brewers, mead makers, and cider makers in that club.
Yeah,
very
a lot
cool.
of good mead. Yeah.
Yep.
So I really liked this Festbier. I have to show everybody here for bottle inspection. If you can see it, I wrote "can" with an exclamation point because I never had a chance to do that before with homebrew. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Wow. It's a show of firsts. I love it.
It's a can. It's lots of firsts. Aroma. No, go ahead, Brian.
I said it's hard to tell the fill level, everything you're supposed to comment on. The cap, there was no cap. I had to dock it 2 points for that.
The fill level was easy to tell because I could kind of press that little piece of the can down and like, okay, it's like a 2-3 millimeters below the top of the can. So that's good. So it was good fill. Aroma, I got medium bready, medium toast, very clean and inviting, low to medium spicy hops, no esters, no off aromas, kind of a low Pils malt also. Really wonderful aroma, 10 out of 12. Appearance, 3 out of 3. It's crystal clear. This is another can. I actually finished the first can this afternoon.
That's a glass, Brian? That's not a can?
Well, I finished the entire can. What can I say? I opened the second can, so you can it's hard to see with the reflection of the screen here, but it is crystal clear. It's like a light golden color. Head is medium and persistent. Again, 3 out of 3. The flavor, starts off with Pils malt at a medium level. The flavor is not quite as complex as the aroma and doesn't have really the toasty or the breadiness, but it's really not supposed to. And I wrote on both sides of the sheet, which one of our local judges is famous for doing. A shout out to Roger for teaching me how to write on both sides of the score sheet. When you read the Festbier style guidelines, the Festbier flavor isn't supposed to be as complex as the aroma. And I don't know what kind of weird German alchemy this is that you put these malts in and you get that aroma, but not the flavor. But that's what happened here. You have some of the toast and breadiness in the flavor, but that's primarily what the aroma is and not really primarily what the flavor is. So that well done. I get like a light toast bread crust. There is a firm, moderate bitterness to balance. It's not, I think, at a level where I'd say goes over the balance, but it's like right up to balancing with the malt. And it's maybe a little bit too high as far as bitterness goes, just by a tad looking at the guidelines, but not so much as to be something that throws you totally out of style. Finish is pleasant, long and balanced. It's well attenuated. I get a low kind of spicy floral hop flavor. 15 out of 20 for flavor. Mouthfeel 5 out of 5. Medium body, no warming. Medium carbonation. Definitely on the creamy side with no astringency. An overall impression, I gave it a 9 for a total of 42. I think this is a really amazing beer. I've had commercial Festbier I have not liked as well as this. And in fact, it's generally not one of my favorite styles. If I'm going to drink like a German darker beer, I want more like a Märzen or like a full-on Bock, Doppelbock, something like that typically, or something more like a Pilsner. And I find a lot of American Fest beers, whether commercial or homebrew, just tend to be kind of blah or old or cardboardy or something. And this is just a really wonderful example. Extremely well crafted, well made. If I had anything to offer to change, I might back off the bitterness just a little bit, like maybe 10%, right? Not much at all, because this is just so up there right now. You're already well up in the middle of the excellent range at 42. So really well done. And if you do rebrew it sometime, please send us more. I'll take 4 or 5, maybe 6
cases.
Brian's here putting orders in. All right, Cooper. Coopity doo.
All right. So yeah, well, I poured mine a while ago, but the head's died down here. But in the nose, it's cleanly malty. Has let's say a medium light toasty quality, medium low sulfury note. No obvious esters. It's clean and inviting. There's no DMS or diacetyl. Just nicely lagered here. You can't really fault it for anything much at all there. There's a spicy hop coming through at a medium low level. It's bright. There's no acetaldehyde. It does have a slightly biscuity quality to the malt, which is okay to the style too, and kind of an interesting twist. Appearance wise, it's brilliantly clear. Had kind of a yellowish gold color with a well-formed white head, mostly smaller bubbles, and the retention was good. Yeah, like I said, this one's been poured. I let Brian yammer on for too long there.
I'll talk as long as you'll let me, man. I was blah, 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 blah.
That is 100% correct.
Just try to shut me up, man.
You made some good points, and I was listening, and I agree with a lot of it. So in the flavor, it's cleanly fermented lager profile here for sure. Nicely done. And if you're just starting out doing lagers for several months, that's a good feat, because it takes a few tries sometimes, and you have to wait for it. I found that in the flavor, to me, it came through. Maybe what Brian was perceiving as bitterness is what is coming through to me as a more sharp, toasty character. I'm not getting a big bitterness per se, but just the edge of the beer is more boldly toast than bread and light toasts, which is what I would want for a Festbier. A Festbier, they differentiate between Oktoberfest and Festbier, and I think that for Oktoberfest, it's going to be a lot maltier than this. This is at a right level for the base malt and the flavors, but the toast sometimes it's more restrained, and the kind of Munich-y flavors are a little more restrained in the Festbier. It's lighter in general, but you can delve into those two styles. It used to be just one combined style, and you had to kind of accept all of them and interpret. But anyway, back to the flavor and the finish. It's nice and dry. The beer is balanced to the malt. The malt really lingers into the aftertaste, and to me, the Festbier is something you want to quaff and you drink large quantities of in giant steins. And to me, this is a little slower drinker, because it's a little bolder. The malt sticks around. It doesn't just dry off and you want another sip, like in a German beer hall, which can be trouble. The hops are low, just a little spicy note. That's fine. Medium low bitterness is where I thought that fell. There is some bitterness there, but it's not overpowering to me. Mouthfeel wise, carbon dioxide is medium high with a real spritzy carbon dioxide bite to it. And that's fine. It should have a little bit of a bite and then dry off and go away. But yeah, just the carbonation has to be there at a certain level to hold up that head and keep it happy. But there's no warmth. It's fine there. Medium body, no obvious astringency. It's, not quite as smoothly quaffable as hoped for the style. It's just a little bit of a bite. I don't know if that it's bitterness or there was no real astringency. So I think it's just the spritziness with the again, not probably just the malt, the toasty malt to me, making it a little less of a easy drinker, but it's a fine point. It's easy to drink. Don't worry. So yeah, I mean, it's a very, very good version of a Festbier. It's quite clean. Excellent version, actually. The higher CO2 and the kind of slightly sharp quality of the malt pull it back just a little bit from the style to me. I would back off on any stronger kind of non-Pils malts and perhaps work with the water a bit to enhance the smoothness. Maybe there could be some mineral that's accenting something in the malt, making it a little more biting. If you have too high of sulfates, versus, I mean, it should have some sulfate in the water as the German water typically does, but keep that restrained, not like a British bitter, The smoothness will be enhanced a bit more if you do that. It's characterful and peppy and a little more peppy than expected, but it's still nicely drinkable beer. And I don't know that I would say it's better as an Oktoberfest because it's a little heavier to me on the toast. I think I'd want more rich Municky flavors for the Oktoberfest. This one's in the right territory for sure. And I gave it a good score. I landed at a 38 on it myself. And it's an excellent beer. So thank you for sharing.
It's interesting listening to you guys sort of, ping pong back and forth because Festbier, Oktoberfest, they are sort of very similar, I think. And I haven't refreshed my memory on these styles, but I get them confused in my head and I'm really smart. Okay. I'm super smart. So if I can get them confused, no, I don't know. But you know what I mean? It's like it even sort of, when you're learning about styles, Oktoberfest, Festbier, they can kind of run together. For me anyway, but and this beer for me was sort of in the middle. It wasn't really defined one way or the other. However, if you walked into any brew pub and ordered their Festbier or their Oktoberfest and this is what you got, you would be stoked because 80% of craft brewers, in my opinion, can't fucking make a lager. They definitely can't. 90% can't make a Festbier or an Oktoberfest. They can't do it. It's more like an ale, or it's a Märzen hot, really heavy kind of thing. This is very light. I think what Cooper's saying, I agree with. It's maybe a little bit too heavy. I think on the body is what you're saying, Cooper.
Not really heavy on the body. I mean, the body was kind of medium, but just heavy on the toastiness and the kind of the spritziness, the kind of biting quality. Yeah, and I think it might be a mineral thing, but also like to balance the malt. It's definitely malt balanced. You can bring up hop flavors a little bit, and we get a fresh one in Germany. There's definitely some hop to it there. It's not it's not an IPA by any stretch of the imagination, but there's hops in there and malt, and it goes down nice and smooth and balanced.
Yeah, I like the toasty of it too. I mean, I agree with Brian Shar. It's a great beer, Tyler. You did a very, very good job for your first time. 100%, man.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Keep working on that one and perfect it and enter some competitions because you could do well with this.
I cracked this the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest and there are similarities. The Sierra Nevada is hoppier, of course. And of course the carbonation is a lot higher. But for me the malt, the flavors are still there. It's like you can definitely tell that they're sort of aligned in that way. Great beer. Yeah, good stuff. Do you want to? Can you give us the recipe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll kind of go through the rundown of the stats. It's actually a really easy recipe to brew. I guess probably like any German beer is. It's pretty straightforward, but I'll start from the top. That line was 5.6 ABV, 23 IBUs, and then it came in about 7 SRM. The grist was 60% German Pils malt, 30% German Vienna, 8% Carahel, and then 2% acidulated malt to help out in the mash. And then for the hops, I did first wort hop with Northern Brewer, and I was estimating that addition to be 11 IBUs. 50 minutes with Hollow Tower, and that was about 9 IBUs. And then 10-minute addition of Hollow Tower as well, and that was about 3 IBUs. The yeast, I used the white yeast Bavarian 2206, and that was second generation pitch. So kind of a fun story about that. I had a packet of that yeast that was over a year old, brewed one beer, built it up, brewed a really low ABV beer with it, and then used that yeast to make this beer here. And then the mash schedule was, I wanted to go quite German, so I apologize for my German pronunciation here, but the Hochkurz mash schedule, which came in at 145 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. Then I stepped.
I believe that's called Hochkurz.
I believe there's a Bavarian prince somewhere that might weigh in on pronunciation.
Yeah.
Carry on.
I don't have that at all, so appreciate the help there. And then 158 for 45 minutes, and then mash out at 170.
Cool.
So was there a reason you used Northern Brewer, which is kind of an English hop, other than that you may have just had it around? I mean, it tasted really good. I think it's a good combination, but what drove you to try the Northern Brewer?
You nailed it on the head. It was lying around. I had extra of it, and I didn't have any German Magnum or any other strong alpha hops, so I just chose that one.
And it is, for bittering, it isn't necessarily quite as critical. But now that you've said Northern Brewer, I'm starting to think, I started to think Anchor Steam in my head. It's not, but you know what I mean? I can definitely taste the Northern Brewer now that I know it's there.
Yeah. I know what you're saying, Brian. I know what you're saying. If you can get like a super fresh Anchor Steam, and then you look past all the kind of earthy Northern Brewer heavy and yeast heavy thing, like 40%. I'll give you 40%.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this tastes like Anchor Steam, but I'm saying there's like that there's a little bit of that earthy woody Northern Brewer you get that really, I think, complements. It would never have occurred to me to do this, but I think it really complements the toasty, bread crusty flavor of this beer.
Try this with some fresh Holler Tower or some Tetdong or whatever you can get your hands on that smells fresh and good. But yeah, it's a good base recipe on the malts. Maybe lighten up the Vienna a little bit, but seems like the acidulated was helping you there, so that's cool. No problem there.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought, is maybe ratchet down the Vienna a little bit by 5% and kind of fill that in with the pills, so that way it backs off of that toasty malt character that you guys were calling out, and just see how that goes.
It hit me more than it did Brian, I think. But also, what was your water? You just use your own filtered water, or what do you have there down in Mesa?
Well, actually, so I brewed this in Minneapolis when I lived there. And I have an RO filter at home, so I just make RO water and then build it up from there.
Okay.
But the calcium was at 59, the sulfate was at 46, and the chloride was at 71. So it was heavier on the chloride than the sulfite to help bring out and pronounce the multi flavors in the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like it should work well.
Yeah, all in a good range. Yeah.
Good.
Who's knocking on the table?
I stepped back. I'm not touching anything.
That's funny.
All right.
It's the skeletons, I guess.
Look, we all have skeletons in our backyard, man. Tyler, do you have any other questions for the boys?
Not really. Actually, I'm really happy. I was kind of afraid to send it into Dr. Homebrew because I didn't know what to expect. So,
well, if you were here, we would put you in the dunk tank.
No.
You're not, because
Oh.
you're afraid, because you're scared to come out. So
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
We'd
No,
have a
try-
tub of slime that's going to come out of the ceiling
Yeah.
or something. Yeah, it'd be.
Yeah.
We-
Actually, it's going to come
Yeah.
from the bottom of the chair. And I don't wanna- we're redesigning the studio. So once this thing is over and we can open up, slime through the
Yeah.
chair. That's what that's what's happening.
I can't wait. I guess one thing that
I can't.
Neither can we.
yeah, I'll have to make a special trip up there for you. But one question, it was my first time canning. And so and obviously I mailed it to you guys. So how did the beer hold up in the cans? I'm just so used to bottling and that counter pressure process being easier to, to be consistent. What was your thoughts with the presentation of the beer in the can?
Personally, I thought it was fine. I mean, it maybe could have used a little more spritzerino, but I think it's fine. I think it
It
tastes
was
good.
great, and the packaging was nice. The surrounding plastic covered foam and the cooler. You kept it chilled in the box there, so that was good, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, no oxidation. It's. I thought it traveled real well, and it was comparable to well packaged bottle as far as how it got here. So good job.
Yeah.
So you're foaming over and then just pushing that cap down on the foam and sealing it, right? I mean, crimping it.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's tough to kind of dial that in. The first couple of tries, probably just like with bottling, just to make sure that you maintain that fill level to the acceptable, beer can beer level. But once you dial it in, it goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of people like it. That's cool.
Yeah. Well done.
What kind of sealer, crimper, whatever do you have? What is it? What's it called?
It's the cannular, so I got it for more beer.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yep.
I didn't know that beforehand, everybody, so don't worry. Wasn't a setup. Hey, Tyler, tell me about the canning system, please.
Those are the folks that were exhibiting at the last Homebrew Con we could actually go to in person, right? Or is that somebody different?
I think that was the American Seamer.
Okay.
And
Okay.
was it a big flywheel where you turned and?
Yeah, I mean, it's been so long ago. I mean,
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. There's now more than one homebrew canner that you can buy. It's not just like one company making like a handful that are one off. There's like
Sort of what I'm
multiple
saying.
companies making homebrew cans.
This is
Yeah.
insane. It's a weird, crazy time to be a home brewer right now with a disposable income.
Has homebrewing passed us by? Are we just old? Are we too old school to be so impressed with cans and canning and stuff?
Yeah. Back in my day, we just had oxidized. We drank out of the bucket. I don't know.
We found bottles in the garbage back behind a bar. We had to clean them out with 5-star.
That's right.
And they were clean because we used 5-star.
Absolutely. All right, Tyler. I'll let you split if that's it, man.
Yeah. I really appreciate all the feedback, guys.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
sweat. Thanks
Yeah,
for
send
sharing.
it.
Thank you very
Send
much.
some more.
Yeah, send some more whenever you want, man. We're
Will
here.
do.
All right. Thanks, brother.
And people that do want to send more can send an email to brian@thebrewingnetwork.com and get on our little show here, just like
Brian
Tyler did.
with 4 eyes, right?
Yeah,
Brian.
We're looking for
Brian.
a few good beers.
the skeletons just fell off. Oh wow.
They really do not want to be there, man. I don't know.
They're like
They
sponges.
made it through almost the entire show, man. That was pretty cool.
All right, let's take a quick break, everybody. We'll come right back, and we're going to end this show. This is Dr. Homebrew. Hang on. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Tyler, it's good stuff, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thanks so
Thank you.
much.
Yeah.
I was happy to get some of that feedback. So next time I brew some up, I'll make sure to send it back and get a second round opinion for you guys.
Yeah, please do. I don't normally finish these beers, but I'm going to finish this one. I
Thank
really
you.
like it. You did a
Yeah,
really
I
good
think
job.
the remaining Festbier in this can is going to be my show beer for the second show.
Yeah, best beer, more like next beer.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
All right,
Well,
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it, guys. Have a good night.
all right, you
You too. Thank you.
Yep, take care.
Okay, we'll come back. We'll do a quick recap, and I guess I don't know, bullshit for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Thanks a lot for sticking around. So we heard from Tyler, and we heard from Mark.
Yes.
Mark.
I don't know why I kept thinking it was like Marcus, and I was going to totally screw it up.
He's
and
been on the show like
embarrass
6
myself.
times now,
Yeah,
JP.
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't
He's
know.
going to be on the next show.
I don't know. I'm just, what do you want me to do? Lie?
Call him
No.
Marcus on the next show and see what
I-
happens.
Yeah, I'm horrible with names. I understand that.
I want him to reach through the internet and grab me. I don't know, man. Overall, I think these are good beers. I can't get over this Festbier. First of all, I think it was pretty good. I mean, for a first time, I don't remember a first time brewing any beer that I was happy with. And maybe it's me, or maybe because I suck, or maybe it's both. Maybe my mental disease just is like nothing's ever going to be good enough. But I mean, I would have been happy with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is really good. I've had I'm not kidding when I said I've had commercial examples that aren't as good as this.
Yeah, well, for sure. And it's funny because Kim Shimke, right, our social media fanatic, she just posted something on her stories or whatever for Instagram. It was like, what craft beer phenomena do you hate, or whatever? What drives you crazy about craft beer, or something like that? And at first, of course, I wrote back you. And then I wrote back an honest one, which was the amount of lagers that aren't lagers in craft beer.
Yeah.
Fucking pisses me off. That fast lager bullcrap has ruined lagers to the point where I didn't trust them for a while. And then now people are starting to sort of like come around back to like, you got to do a proper lagering. Yeah. And this sort of tastes like that. And that's what I really appreciate the most. It's like that flavor, man, that you cannot replicate unless you do the thing. It's just like decoction mashing. I mean, you can sort of skip around it or whatever, but you're not really going to fully replicate it unless you actually do the process. There are some things in homebrewing. That's what's great about homebrewing. You can cut corners, but there are some parts of it where unless you do the thing, it's never going to be the same.
Sounds like the meanings of a brewlosophy experiment. And maybe they've already done it, where you just like take melanoid and malt and then do an actual decoction.
I know they've done it, and the thing about those, whenever we used to do this on the show and have Marshall on the show, it's like I know I can find the difference. So maybe it's me, and maybe I'm not accepting enough of other beers. I don't know.
Now, you know what I think it is I firmly believe that if you do the fast lager method the way that it's supposed to be done, that you'll get 95% of the way to lager.
No.
But I think most people that try fast lager, whether at home or in a professional brewery situation, try to fast lager. They try to even cut corners off of that, or especially at home, maybe you're not having process control enough to even do that properly. So then it ends up being like half a lager, and then it's just not good.
Yeah, well, here for me, I think you can get 60% of the way there. I don't think you can get 95. Yeah. The other part of it is, I think when they try to like A/B test it, where they go, well, here's a lager, here's a fast lager, let's combine them. I don't think they can lager very well. Already, they can't lager very well, so you can't test it based on lagering versus not lagering. So you're kind of just like, well, let's just throw it out.
That's an interesting point, because if your A/B test is, quote, contaminated by A or B not being what it's supposed to be, then that's going to be, it's not a good A/B test then.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to end the show like that, but
you didn't mean to end the show with a JP rant about a thing you didn't like?
I guess I did. I mean, I guess I did.
Come on, man. That's why people listen to this show. They want to hear you talk about what you don't like.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like they listen to the show because they have nothing to fall asleep to.
Yeah, there's that.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot to our sponsor, 5-Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com. Check them out. Support them. They've been supporting the show since pre-day one. And we really appreciate it. We wouldn't be doing the show without them. So show them some love. And show all our sponsors some love, too. I know it's a really hard time right now, but everybody needs support. And if you can support us, the Brewing Network, or our sponsors, and let them know that you heard about them through the Brewing Network, that would mean the world to us. So thank you very much, everybody. And until next time, we'll see you later.